Steve, good morning to you. How you doing?
I'm pretty excited about season 16.
You know what? This is amazing. You know what I love about you, Steve, is that you have pretty much taken your passion of your policing and helping these people clear their names in this new incoming season. You've done more of kind of like the crime solving. Tell me a little bit what made you want to start doing this for season 16.
Well, we've kind of always done it, and when you get answers for people, and I think we've done a really good job with that. It's a very satisfying thing because I say it all the time. When I was on the Springer Show, I had so much fun. It really was the best time of my life. But it was like being in high school. You're running around pulling each other's pants down, right? But then when I got my own show, people, I think, just kind of assumed that we're going to be like an extension of the Springer Show. And we said, no, what are you good at? Because I never was going to be in TV. So we said, okay, you're a policeman. We're going to take the show and do the stories, the same kind of things that you encountered when you did your 8-hour shift in Chicago. And those are, most of the time you're dealing with serious subjects. And, bringing it from the streets onto the stage has worked really well. And I say one of the reasons why we're able to stay on the air for 16 years is that, when all these new talk shows come out, they're basically celebrity driven. We're kind of on our own little island. We're taking regular people that have nowhere else to turn, where they feel they have nowhere else to turn. They kind of feel like we're their last hope. So we've been able to do a show that's different than everybody else. And
yeah,
it speaks for itself because you don't last on TV for 16 years unless you're doing a show that people are tuning into.
Yeah, and Steve, I think one thing that makes you different from everybody else is that you can connect with these people because you've been in the streets. You've seen what has happened to some people through these, of course, guests that you have on. I'm trying to make sure I say the right words. I don't want to say anybody who's been convicted or a criminal or anything like that. And that's what
Right.
you're trying to make sure is seen here. But I think you really connect with these people because you know their stories.
Well, listen, before I was in TV, I was in these people's homes responding as a police officer, dealing with domestic disturbance, dealing with people that were victims of crimes, seeing firsthand how people struggled, how they lived, financially, emotionally, all these things. So that was, a big experience for me because even my own background of growing up, I came from a stable family. My parents were married for 59 years and my grandparents lived on the first floor. We lived on the second floor. So not that it was all, peaches and cream, but I came from a good family and had a nice bed to sleep in every day. But when you go out into the world and you see how people do struggle with broken families and alcoholism or drug use and all these things, so that when I do it on stage, I've dealt with this for a long, long time with real people. And instead of these people, calling 911 and me showing up at their house, now they're coming on my show and I'm dealing with them. But I have that connection where I've dealt with this for so long on the most basic level. And I think some of the, people that have talk shows, some of them are, big movie stars or, recording artists, and they've never had to experience something like that. But their shows are different. They're dealing with other celebrities and talking about what movie's coming out or whatever. A lot of them deal with that. Not a lot of them are dealing with our show. So, when people tune into our show, they're turning into a show that's completely different than what else is on daytime TV.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome. And it's going to be a different look, too. I think you're excited about this because you've been in one studio, of course, and now you've moved into another set. How do you feel about that?
The set is fantastic. I mean, when I walked in, they didn't even tell me they were changing the studio. So when I walked in, I was blown away. It looks really great. And we had to build an island in the old studios because of the pandemic. I couldn't be on the stage with two guests, and there was a little bridge where the audience was. There was no more audience for the past 2 years. And that's all torn out. We have a new studio. And the big difference is we have an audience again, which is fantastic for me. I think it's fantastic for my staff and even the guests. You know, the guests come out on stage, there's an audience there. Last 2 years doing the show was really difficult with no audience. There's just no energy in the studio and there's no feedback. And so the show now has such a lively feeling compared to what we were doing for the last 2 years.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to it. We're so glad it's here on AZTV 7. I know we got to wrap it up, but I do have one thing to ask you, and let's get serious about it. Will we see the Bears here in Arizona come February?
Only if somebody gives them tickets.
Steve, thank you very much for joining us.
Take care.